Okay, let's get started. Today, we're going to do a deep dive into a topic that, well, it really touches almost everyone in some way. Cancer. It's obviously, a medical diagnosis, but it's so much more than that, isn't it? It's this incredible story of human resilience, amazing science, and, well, hope.
Absolutely.
So our mission today is to really look closely at the sources you've shared with us, the articles, the research, those personal stories, and just try to understand what they tell us about navigating this really complex journey.
Yeah.
And whether you're listening as a survivor, maybe a caregiver, a medical professional, or perhaps you're just someone looking for a bit more clarity, this deep dive is really for you. We want to pull out those key insights.
And what strikes me right away from looking at these sources is that paradox. You have the clinical definition, which is vital, of course.
Right, the science bit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Medically, it's over 100 different diseases where cells just grow uncontrollably, but that's only like half the story. And behind that biological process, there's this profound human reality, a journey that, yes, often starts with fear, uncertainty, but also one that reveals this incredible resilience, community, and just an amazing capacity for love and support.
Yeah.
The sources really bring that contrast out.
That contrast, that paradox you mentioned, vulnerability and strength side by side, that really comes through powerfully in the voices, the actual stories we've gathered from the sources. Like, there's the story of Ama, a breast cancer survivor from Ghana. Her journey is detailed in one of the articles. It went from just despair, really, to finding this completely new sense of purpose. She actually says, "I thought it was the end, but it became the start of my second life, a life dedicated to helping others." That really stays with you.
It does.
And the sources show this again and again. Cancer is incredibly tough, obviously, but people often find a strength that they didn't know they had. They're often tougher. But what actually underlies that toughness? Is it just willpower?
Well, that's a great question. And the sources suggest it's not just inner strength, though that's huge. It's also shaped by external factors, things like the agency we have in prevention.
Right.
And these just incredible advances in medical science. For instance, one thing that jumps out from the research is that figure over 30% of cancers might actually be preventable through lifestyle.
30%. That's significant.
It is. And the sources don't just throw out the number. They detail how. Things like a plant-rich diet.
Yeah.
One study linked it to maybe a 20% lower risk for colorectal cancer.
Okay.
Then there's the vital role of early screening. It's drastically improved survival for cancers like breast and cervical, and even specific vaccines, like the HPV vaccine.
Yeah, that's been huge.
It's getting close to actually eradicating cervical cancer, where uptake is high. So it really shows this interplay, personal actions and scientific progress working together.
That 30% figure, yeah, it's striking. And knowing the specifics, diet, screening, vaccines, it highlights the power we actually have, the proactive steps we can take.
Exactly.
But then, for people who are facing a diagnosis, the treatment side is changing so fast, too. What are the sources telling us about the sort of cutting-edge stuff that's really making a difference now?
Yeah, and what's really interesting there is how the sources talk about a kind of paradigm shift, especially with immunotherapy and personalized medicine.
Okay, immunotherapy, what exactly is that?
So it's not just about a new drug in the traditional sense. It's more about retraining your own body's immune system, teaching it to recognize the cancer cells as foreign and attack them.
Wow. So using the body's own defenses.
Precisely. There's a case study in the materials about a patient with melanoma, previously considered untreatable, who achieved complete remission with immunotherapy.
That's incredible.
It really is. And then you have personalized medicine, which takes it even further. The sources explain how doctors can now look at the unique genetic makeup of your specific tumor.
Your own blueprint, basically.
Exactly. The specific mutations driving your cancer. And then they tailor the treatment precisely for that biology.
Which means better results.
Generally, yes. More effective outcomes and often fewer side effects because the treatment is so hyper-targeted. It's just amazing how far things have come and the hope these advances offer.
That's genuinely remarkable. Turning the body against the cancer or tailoring treatment right down to the individual genetic level. It sounds like this blend of super high-tech science, but also a deeply personal approach. And that personal aspect, it brings us back to courage, doesn't it? How do the sources talk about courage here? Is it just about, fighting hard, or is it maybe something more nuanced?
That's a really important point. And the sources definitely broaden that definition. It's not only the sort of dramatic battle image we might have.
Right.
The readings highlight the courage it takes just to seek a diagnosis early, despite being scared of what you might find out.
Yeah, that takes guts.
It really does. And the quiet courage of just sticking with treatment day after day, even when it's exhausting or painful. Consistency. And the courage of vulnerability, letting people in, allowing loved ones to actually help and support you, that's not always easy.
No, definitely not.
And maybe the profound courage of adapting, redefining what life looks like, finding joy, finding meaning, even when things are really challenging. There's this one poignant bit describing a patient. Their act of courage was simply choosing to walk outside each day, just embracing those small moments. So it's resilience in all its forms, big and small, loud and quiet.
So courage is really multifaceted. It's not a single heroic moment, but this sort of continuous thread woven through daily life, daily choices.
Exactly.
And often, as you mentioned earlier with community, it's amplified by the people around us.
Precisely. The sources really underscore that. Courage rarely happens in isolation. It seems to be profoundly shaped by those support networks, family, friends, certainly the medical teams, but also community groups.
Peer support seems important too.
Very much so. There are some powerful stories in there about the role of peer support groups, where people facing similar situations can share, practical strategies, but also just emotional strength. It becomes a kind of collective strength, not purely individual.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's clear that this whole journey from thinking about prevention to going through treatment or just living day to day with a diagnosis, it's just infused with incredible strength. And for you listening, whether you're fighting it yourself right now, or maybe you're supporting someone you love, or maybe you're just listening today to understand a bit more, just remember, you're not alone in this. Every voice counts. Every single story matters.
And I think that leads us to a really powerful final thought from these sources, something for you to maybe take away and reflect on. Cancer doesn't define a person, their courage does. And that raises a really important question, doesn't it? What does courage truly mean to you when you face life's biggest challenges, whatever they may be?
That is definitely a thought worth holding on to and exploring. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive, looking at what our sources reveal about cancer and the remarkable courage it so often unmasks.
Thank you.
Please share these insights if they resonated. Start a conversation and, well, never stop believing in the power of healing.